Today we're going to do some troubleshooting on the window on this Acura. The passenger side window does not roll down. So I'll show you that it's not working. Turn the car on. And this switch is definitely very loose. Not that that matters, but it does let the window down. But the passenger one does not come down. It also does not work with this switch. Nothing is happening. And flipping this switch also doesn't do anything. Either way, this is supposed to be a safety switch to lock the window on that side so it doesn't open, but it still doesn't work in either direction. So we're gonna do some troubleshooting and see what's happening here. So you have two situations if the window is not gonna let down. Either the motor is not turning, because I don't hear any activation, or the motor's not getting power because of something. Broken wire, switch malfunction, could be several things. But if the motor's not running, that means either the motor is burned up, doesn't run, or that it's not getting power. So we're gonna troubleshoot those two things and identify what the problem is, and then see if we can repair it. First, I'm gonna take the door panel off and then see and check the motor. We'll apply power directly to the motor to see if the motor's turning, and then once I identify that the motor is in fact working, then that means it's definitely going to be something else. The wiring, power coming to the motor, why power is not being delivered there. There's a screw in the handle, one screw right here. Okay, once you have this off, what you want to do is start on the outside of the door and pull out and get the pops off the bottom, and then just cups here on the top. So we'll pop it out and then we'll lift it off. Okay, easy. There you go. Now, of course, it's going to have the connectors on it, so we'll disconnect that. There's a little button on the bottom of it that you push to release it. And then we're taking the door panel off. So the motor is going to be behind this plastic. I'm not going to take that off initially. But I'm going to have to find out which wires go to the motor to activate it. So this connector goes to the motor. So I should be able to apply power to this connector and turn the motor over. If it buzzes, if it moves, that means the motor's good. So we're going to test the motor now. I've got a 12-volt battery here. It was already in the car. Luckily, I've got this already out. Otherwise, you'd have to get a 12-volt battery to do this, to test it. And the way that the motor works, a DC motor, is you hook 12 volts to it, or a 12-volt motor anyway. You hook 12 volts to it and it'll turn in one direction. If you reverse the polarity and switch the cables, it'll go the other direction. So this is how the window works. To go up, you hook it one way, and to go down, you hook it the other. So I'm just going to short these. I have these two wires hooked up to the plug feeding the motor, and I just have them in one direction. I'm just going to swap them on the battery itself. So check the window out. You can see that it'll probably, that the window will go down. So I'll let you just so you can see me doing this. both of these terminals. And the window goes down. So that tells me that the motor is working. It's very slow coming up. This battery may be dead. I don't know what condition the battery is in. So we know that it's definitely not the motor. Must be the switching mechanisms. So now I'm going to test to see if there's any power coming out of the sending unit going to the motor, because that's ultimately what I want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook up this LED light, test light, and these two pieces of copper, and I'm going to stick these in this terminal, because this is a female connector. So I'm going to stick these on either side of this terminal so I get a connection to it, just like that, just like this. Now this LED will light up in both directions. Some are polarized, so they'll only work in one direction. This one will work in either, so it doesn't matter which way I hook it up. So now, when we activate this switch, it's supposed to send power here through these two wires to the motor, or in this case to the light. So let's hook it up and see what's happening. And also use this to test to make sure that we're finally getting power here. Alright, so now we have our light here, and we've got the door switch hooked up. Let's see, this light comes on. Power already is on. Oh, see, so we are getting power in the up direction, but we are not getting power in the down direction. We'll try that. I'm going to go try the door. So you see that it turns on when I flip it up. It doesn't turn on when I flip it down. So I'm going to try the driver's side, and we'll see what happens. So the driver's side didn't appear to be working in either direction. The cutoff switch does appear to be working. So it seems that we probably have a problem in the driver's side main switch, because it's not working at all. You can see there that we are getting power in this direction, but we're not getting power in the down direction. From the driver's side door, it's not coming out in either direction, so we definitely have a problem over there. This switch could also be bad in the down direction, but I need to check the driver's door, so I'm going to take that off and do some troubleshooting over there. So I pulled off the driver's side door panel. Same process, there's a screw through here, a little clip there, another screw in the handle, pull it off from the bottom, loosen that, and then pull it off this rail on the back. It goes over the window right here. So it just comes up. Now I want to take this switch off and see what's wrong with it. So it looks like there's just two screws here. We're going to take both of these out and pull this device off, and then put it on the table and investigate what's up with the switch, if there's anything wrong here. There are actually three screws. There's one here, and one in here. So I've got to take all three of them out to remove the switch assembly. So see, then it comes right out. And dump the screws there in a key safe for later. And here's our assembly. Now we're going to check these switches out and see what the problem is with them. Inside here, see that it throws this lever up, and that matches up with this one. So this is the passenger side switch, and this is going to be your driver's side one. So we're just going to test this board and see what happens here, what the deal is with it. The board is labeled, and it says DDDU, P positive, PD, PU, PB, DB, P negative, DE, and PE. So I'm thinking DD is drivers down, drivers up, power positive, power negative. Passengers down, passenger up. Let's see, I'm not certain what PB is. So if we can test across these terminals to make sure that this is actually activating, and I'll use my ohm meter to see if the switch is working. So here I'm testing to see if the switch is any good here, and it appears that the switch is working through here. I'm testing it from PB to PD and PB to PU, up from, I guess, base power to sending the power to down or to up. So, of course, this works in reverse, so when this goes down, it's pushing it up. So up is actually going to be down, and this is going to be up. So you can see, I'm going to hook it up to the down option, and hook it up to PB, and then flip it up. You see we're open, and then it goes to continuous. So it's going through the switch. Off, up, down. Yeah. So when it OL0 is open lead, that means there's no continuity. We're checking for continuity, so if it goes through it, it should read almost 0 ohms or just a few ohms. I'm on an ohm scale. I'm just reading through the two. If I put to PB and up and push it down, you see that it also opens up. It closes the circuit and then opens the circuit in the off position. Closes the circuit, meaning sending power through there, and then closes the circuit. So the switch is definitely working. So finally found out the reason the light wasn't working because there was a bad connection on this plug. This particular terminal was not making a good contact with the pins.
Switch body.
Was not making good contact in these pins. And whenever I would move the plug, my test light would come on. So the problem was this contact on this lug, on this terminal lug. Now these terminal lugs slide into these harnesses, and sometimes they can be kind of aggravating to get out. This one comes out, it has a locking feature on the top, so you have to pry this up with a screwdriver and then take it out. This unlocks it. And then to get the rest of it out, there's a small little clip inside here. So in between the terminal and there's a piece of plastic that sticks up kind of like this. You have to push it down so it'll come out the back.
Where it clicks into the
so I just push it in there and then slid it out the back. And the terminal, I'm gonna put it back now. So what I did was I took some pliers, not these, but I took some other pliers that were stiffer and smashed the terminal tighter so that it would have a nice fit against the pin, the contact, so it wouldn't be sloppy and make a bad contact. And now I'm going to put it back in here, and you see this just clicks in there. All right, well, that was a little bit tough. Okay, there, it snapped in there. But I'll show you how the other ones come out. So if you want to take it out, there's a small little pin that you hit here and you release it. And once you release it, that opens it up and unlocks it so that you can pull the pin out, or pull the terminal lug out the back. It's not very easy to do, but it can be done. You see it, he pulls out, listen, and it snaps in there. Anyway, the locking mechanism on the front. So now that I have it locked in there, now we can lock it back just like this. Hook our switch back up. So now you can see that when I hit the switch, some of these other ones are weak too. You see I'm holding the switch down. There's a bad connection. I'm probably going to go through all of these and tighten them all up because we're getting bad connection on several of them.
Sure are.
Up is working fine, but the down is certainly problematic.
That wasn't working before? The down?
Yeah. So we're going to go and clean the contacts on all of these and make sure we're getting good contact, and then it'll work because the switch obviously works. So I took the connectors off and I sprayed them down with some contact cleaner. Contact cleaner is very good to clean off electrical contacts. Of course, that's what it's for. It evaporates very quickly. And I sprayed these contacts inside the plug and outside, and now you can see that we're getting in both directions the light's coming on and strong. Even if I move the plug around, it doesn't short out, so we're getting good connection there. And the light works from both sides now. So that means that the motor will go up and down now. Problem solved.